licks versus scales. Which one should I focus on more? Which one's more important? You'll see a ton of content online telling you that you should focus on scales more than licks, or you should focus more on licks and phrases than on scales. So what I want to unpack for you today is the relationship between our kind of fretboard roadmap, and that's our scales, arpeggios, triads, that kind of thing, and our cultural vocabulary, which is the licks and the phrases that we want to play in the music that we're tackling. And whereas I mostly focus on bluegrass, flat picking, lead guitar, that's what we'll be focusing on today. So I want to try to just give you the most important piece of the puzzle here. So what I want to do for you right now is I'm just going to give you two different scale patterns, and then I'm going to show you some pretty well-known bluegrass phrases that are based around those two scale patterns. Now for this lesson, I am not going to be showing you how to cover the neck, doing blues scales for bluegrass. If you want to check that out, I have done that. You can check this lesson out right here, and I will link to that down in the video description. But for today, we're just going to do two scale patterns here. All right, we're going to come down here and do this one. That is a G major blues scale. I want to give you one more pattern here, and we're going to do this. We're going to do. And that is a G minor blues scale pattern. Like I was saying a minute ago, they're not the only patterns. You can move all up and down the fretboard playing, those different major and minor blues scale patterns. I'm not going to be covering that for this lesson. Again, I have done a master class on this. You can check that out down in the video description. But one more time, G major blues scale. Minor blues scale. Okay, so there's a major and a minor blues scale pattern. So now that I've given you those two patterns, let's take a couple of pretty well-known bluegrass phrases. So the first one that I want to give you is this. Do that again. Okay, so classic Tony Rice sounding phrase, which means it's also a classic Clarence White sounding phrase. And I have shared this lick in several different lessons on this channel in several different places, but I'm going to play it one more time for you, nice and slow. Classic sounding Tony Rice bluegrass lick. Now I want to bring your attention to the first half of this. That is straight out of our G minor blues scale. I'm using a couple of chromatic notes, and all chromatic notes are is just we play every fret available between 2 points in a scale. So instead of just doing that, we. Okay, so that first half again. And the one place we slide from major to minor, but then now the second half of this is straight out of our G major blues scale. So minor, slide up to major for just a second, major. Think of it as the first half being minor and the second half being major. Friend, that right there is bluegrass cultural vocabulary in the context of the scales we use to construct those phrases. So here's the thing. What we're talking about today is great material for players at a certain level. But the thing about it is people are at different levels in their playing. They're at different stages here. And the thing that I see throwing people off more than anything is just consuming too much information, too many YouTube videos, too many short form videos on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. It just gets overwhelming. And so to help you cut through the noise, I am putting together my very first live online training. It's called the Flatpicking Path Challenge. I wanted to put this together not because I'm going to promise that you can become a bluegrass master in 5 days. That's not what this is. But what we're going to do in this 5-day challenge is I'm going to help you identify where you're at as a player. And once we do that, we can give you a path to follow. We're going to talk about the importance of developing a consistent, focused practice routine, but more importantly than that, I'm going to show you an easy way to make that consistent, focused practice routine a habit. And once you have a path to follow and a focused practice routine that's a habit, you just have to stick to that for a long enough period of time to let progress compound. You can hit the link down in the video description and in the top pinned comment to learn more and to join the Flatpicking Path Challenge. So let's do another phrase here. And as I start playing these phrases, I hope you're able to start seeing this. Let's do another one. This is the end, or like the second half of Billy Strings' solo to Dust in a Baggie from the studio recording, the original studio recording, okay? And it goes like this. Okay, so let me slow it down here, and we're gonna do... Are you starting to see this? So the first half of that phrase is straight out of that G minor blues scale. Okay, and that's coming straight out of... And then the second half of it is straight out of our major blues scale. I hope you're starting to see this. So many of these bluegrass phrases are built around major and minor blues scales, and we combine the major and the minor blues scale ideas to give these bluegrass ideas a really unique flavor. Let's do a few more here. Bryan Sutton plays this at the end of Ricky Skaggs' version of Hallelujah, I'm Ready to Go. It's an old Stanley Brothers gospel tune, and he plays this lick at the very end of it. Play it again. Of course, Bryan plays it about 1,000,000 times faster than that, but... All right, are you seeing how we're doing the same thing? Minor. Major. Okay. And it's the combining of those major and minor blues scale ideas with the deliberate use of open strings that really gives bluegrass its unique sound. So there's 3 different ideas there. There's our classic Tony Rice style lick, there is our Billy Strings Dust in a Baggie second half phrase, and there's the Bryan Sutton Hallelujah, I'm Ready to Go lick. And I just want you to see how those major and minor blues scale patterns, again, that was the major and then the minor. That kind of serves as the alphabet from which we construct our vocabulary, that being our licks and our phrases that we use in the music that we're playing. So now the $1,000,000 question, Aaron, should I focus on learning scales first, or should I focus on licks and phrases and cultural vocabulary? So I actually recommend getting a really good footing with your vocabulary first before doing a deep dive on scales for a couple of reasons. Number one, Playing these licks and phrases cleanly and in time is challenging, and it takes a lot of practice. So you're going to need to get the technical part of this down first. Number two is because practicing vocabulary makes your playing sound like music. The problem with people who only practice scales and who maybe get great at practicing scales and arpeggios is their playing never really sounds musical. It sounds robotic. So again, that's why I recommend starting off with vocabulary. We need to drill down on the technique because that's very challenging. And number two, it just makes your playing sound more musical. Now, if you'd like to check out a video where I give you 9 different classic sounding bluegrass phrases through G, C, and D, check this one out right here. That's a great one to get started with to kind of get like a baseline level of competency when it comes to your cultural vocabulary in bluegrass. From there, I really recommend getting a minimum of 5 solos to 5 classic bluegrass tunes. Again, you don't want to just learn the phrases. Get them cleanly, get them in time, good technique, solid timing. And a couple of great videos to check out that I've done on this channel are these right here. So once you're able to play 9 to 10 different bluegrass phrases cleanly and in time, and you can play at least 5 solos to some classic bluegrass standards, to me, that puts you in a great place to go ahead and start doing a deep dive on your scales, your pentatonic scales. For bluegrass, I really recommend the blues scales. And again, check out this video to do a deep dive on blues scales for bluegrass guitar. Because what learning those scale patterns will enable you to do, again, after you've set that foundation, getting the vocabulary down, getting those tunes down, that's going to it's going to increase your ability for pattern recognition. And what a lot of people think is genius and talent is just pattern recognition. If you can get these phrases down cleanly and in time, and you can get down at least 5 solos to some classic bluegrass standards, and then you add in mastery of the fretboard in the form of mastering your scale patterns up and down the neck, knowing your basic major and minor arpeggios. Again, you can check out my cage system for bluegrass players masterclass that I've shared on this channel. I'll also link to that down in the video description. That is going to put you in an incredible place to not only come up with your own leads, but to make learning and increasing your vocabulary and repertoire and chops and just every aspect of your playing, you're going to be able to develop that much better and much easier. So just to recap here, cultural vocabulary and fretboard mastery, i.e. scales, arpeggios, all of that good stuff, play into one another. I tell people to think of the scales and the arpeggios as the alphabet. Think of your cultural vocabulary, and by that I mean licks and phrases. Think of those as the words, phrases, sentences, all of that good stuff that makes up vocabulary. I showed you 2 simple scale patterns, a G major blues scale pattern and a G minor blues scale pattern down here in our open and first position. And then I gave you 3 classic sounding bluegrass phrases. And we saw how those major and minor blues scale patterns inform the vocabulary. Again, down in the video description and in the top pinned comment, I've got a link to where you can join the Flatpicking Path Challenge. If you are tired of being overwhelmed by too much information, if you're consuming too many YouTube videos and you're like, Aaron, I just want a clear path to follow, I want a practice routine to stick to, and I want to make more progress in this next year than I have in the past 10, the Flatpicking Path Challenge is going to give you that. So hit the link down in the video description and in the top pinned comment to check that out and join the challenge. As always, I want to thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.